this is a day of happiness and celebration and not a day of all sadness. Karen and I want to thank everybody for the outpouring of love that you've shown us and Alex during the last few weeks and few months. I especially want to thank my mother, Bobby, who took care of Nicholas for the last 3 months. We called it 90 days with a 90-year-old. And all of our friends here who helped Mom and helped us. So, being in Portland at the end of Alex's life and seeing something of their life made us have even more respect and admiration for the person they were. Today, rather than emphasize the loss and sadness we all feel, we want to celebrate the unique and wonderful Alex that we all love so, so much. Having said that, I think everybody here knows that I'm a sap, as Alex was, so you'll have to indulge me on that. I wanted to tell a couple of stories that illustrated what it was like to live with Alex growing up. When Alex was about 11, we went to a B'nai Mitzvah in Washington, D.C., just the two of us. We spent the Friday night in a place that didn't seem too far from the synagogue. And on Saturday morning, we decided to walk to the service. I wasn't paying much attention to the map on my phone, and we took a few wrong turns, we walked in the wrong direction, and pretty soon we were thoroughly lost. The spring early morning turned warmer, and we were very sticky and hot in our fancy clothes. After a bunch of corrections and backtracking, Alex turned to me and said, "You know, Dad, I can see why they call this place Temple Sinai. I feel like I've been walking around in circles for 40 years." This was Alex growing up, unperturbed, going with the flow, witty, and a lot of fun. It was simply a joy to be around them. Alex seemed to come to earth fully formed in some ways. Either that or they were doing some deep thinking in the off hours. You really got a shrug and a, I don't know, kind of thing from Alex. For instance, Karen and I tried hard to raise our kids to be as broad-minded and as accepting as possible. And when Alex was about 7, there was a lot of news stories about marriage equality and same-sex marriage. We always listened to NPR on the way to school, so one morning there was a news report about same-sex marriage and court battles. And I said, "So Alex, what do you think about that?" And Alex said, looked up from probably a 600-page book and said, "I don't like it." And I had a panic. I thought, what have we done wrong? We didn't raise Alex like this, and this is not good, and there's still time to fix it, and did the evil internet get hold of Alex, or what happened? So I calmed down and I said, "Well, why is that?" And Alex replied, looking over those sweet little blue glasses, "Dad, you know I hate romance in all forms." I'm happy to report that this is one of the positions that Alex reversed, and they found romance and love with Jess in Portland. Alex's superpowers were kindness, gentleness, and empathy. People could feel it the first time they met Alex. So many times, someone they had met would say to me, "Wow, there's just something about Alex." I think it was the gentleness, but also the authenticity. Alex made a life true to themselves and lived authentically and according to their own lights, even when that was uncomfortable or even dangerous. They had very strongly held beliefs about making the world better with fairness, equity, and compassion for disadvantaged people. They rarely backed down on those values. They would stubbornly, and I mean very, very stubbornly, argue for as long as it took, but always in such a kind and empathetic way that you didn't even know you were being strong-armed. This is a little example from childhood, only childhood. Alex was getting braces. Alex didn't want braces. He pointed out to me that we had taught them that, they pointed out to me that we had taught them that appearances were not the way to judge people, that their teeth worked perfectly well, and that money could be better spent elsewhere. At the end of this presentation, I had nothing, and my only response My only response was to say, why don't you go to your room and maybe you and Mom can talk about this later. At the service we had in Portland, we were astounded to hear a number of friends of Alex say, Alex changed my life, or I've never met anyone like Alex. And look, I know that people say nice things to people who have relatives and loved ones who have passed away. So I have no illusions about that. But when we asked, so tell me more, what do you mean by that? The stories came and there was a constant theme. And the theme was, I didn't know Alex, or Alex didn't owe me anything, but suddenly they appeared and dropped everything and encouraged or helped or somehow did exactly what was needed for my emotional health or physical needs. I learned so much from Alex about Pokemon characters and linguistics and Chinese literature and gender expression and 1,000 other things. Being Alex's father made me a better person. I wanted to be fairer, kinder, smarter, better read because Alex was. As Alex grew into early adulthood, I regret to admit that I worried about them nearly every day. I think my close friends would say, not just once a day, many times a day. Is it okay they don't really know how to drive? Are they equipped for the real world? What about health insurance and job applications? And for the love of God, what about the credit rating? Over the last few months, I've come to realize that Alex was doing exactly what they were put on earth to do. And they did that beautifully. They did the job. Our world's a little kinder and a little less broken where Alex touched it. I would love to have had another 25 or 50 years. And I know Alex would have liked to have more time. And Alex didn't get that, but they packed a whole lifetime of living a good life into those 25 years. And I'll always love you, my Alex. I think next Lori, help me.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Lori Rice, and welcome to Congregation Micah. I always think we really hit the jackpot because Alex brought Alex's family here, and there are 5 synagogues in Nashville, and Alex could have chosen any, and for whatever reason of stroke of luck and magic, Alex chose Congregation Micah and walked into our lives with all the magic and sparkle and goodness that comes with Alex walking into your life. And it made me think of this idea of, in Judaism we call it the Olam Haba, the world to come. And it's really a staple of Jewish tradition, this notion of a world to come. But the rabbis leave it very vague, tantalizingly vague as to what that world to come might be like. And Mark Twain writes that many people believe that after death they will lie on green fields and listen to harp music, something they would not be happy doing for 5 minutes while alive, but they imagine will contribute to their bliss for all eternity. And there's a Spanish philosopher, Miguel de Unamuno, who writes in his tragic sense of life that no logical proof of immortality exists, but you should spend your life so that you deserve to be immortal. In other words, we don't know what happens after death, but we are in control of what happens in this life. And if we manage to bring light into the world, then maybe one day we'll be privileged enough to peek over the horizon. Alex brought so much light into this world in 25 years, just like you said, David. And I have no doubt that Alex is peeking over a beautiful horizon.
Thanks, Rabbi. I'm Julie Greenberg, and I have the pleasure of meeting Alex and becoming part of his life and joining our journeys together. And everyone who knew them knows that that they were just sort of an old soul. I don't know what other phrase to use. There just was so much wisdom and presence in their company, and we love to talk about books and dogs and all sorts of things, but I had one poem. I wanted to share it short because not all of my students here like to talk about God. Not all the adults like to talk about God, but Alex really did. We had some really fascinating conversations along the way, and so we savored this together, and I thought I'd share. It's called God Says Yes to Me. I asked God if it was okay to be melodramatic, and she said yes. I asked her if it was okay to be short, and she said, sure it is. I asked her if I could wear nail polish or not wear nail polish, and she said, honey, she calls me that sometimes. She said, you can do just exactly what you want to. Thanks, God, I said. And is it even okay if I don't paragraph my letters? Sweet cakes, God said. Who knows where she picked that up? What I'm telling you is yes, yes, yes. And that affirmation, that sense of yes and openness and acceptance is how I will forever remember Alex and all of the real joy that they brought. And I am sharing in my gratitude with you all today, I know. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Cantor Josh Goldberg. Honored to be one of the clergy here. And I was told this is one of Alex's favorite songs, and it speaks to just treasuring every day and not letting a single opportunity pass you by. Come on, come out, the weather is warm. Come on, come out, come on, come on. Spot in the shade where oranges fall. A spot in the shade away from it all. Watching the sky, you're watching a painting come into life, shifting and shaping, staying inside. All goes, it all goes by. Blanket unfolds, a blanket's alive. Pieces of gold, they light up your eyes. Now we're alone, now we're alive. Watching the sky, watching a painting come into life, shifting and shaping, staying inside. All goes, it all goes by. Stopping the time, the rush and the waiting, leave it behind, shifting and shaping, keep it inside. It all goes by. Keep it inside, it all goes by.
Thank you, Cantor. I'd like to invite Sandra to come and share.
Hello, everyone. It has been one of the highest honors of my life the past 23 years, having the privilege of being a third parent and friend to Alex. I have so many great stories and my memory is very long. Some stories are beautiful, some hilarious, some very touching, and some quite challenging. All of them helped shape me into the person I am today. My husband and I were not given the gift of biological children. Instead, I was given the gift of our beloved Alex and their brother Nick to help nurture, guide, teach, love, and enjoy. Alex was so easy to love. Like any kid, there were exceptions. Like the time it took me 7 months to potty train them. Ha ha, true story, friends. There was also the time when Alex spent large chunks of their summer days in timeout. This was a period of time during the lower school years when Alex's precocious nature manifested in a serious case of sassiness. I recall saying over and over, "Alex, we are done with this conversation. If you continue to argue or repeatedly bring up the subject, you will find yourself in timeout." What do you think happened? Yes, they had to have the last word or comment, thus finding themselves in multiple timeouts over multiple days. Once Alex made up their mind not to give up on a particular viewpoint or subject, no amount of consequences could change their mind. Through the years, Alex was such good company, wise beyond their years, extremely loyal, quite entertaining, truly funny, kind, and compassionate. One of my very favorite stories was in the lower school days when Alex was 7 or 8. I was in the pickup line at school. When Alex's name was called to come to the car, I watched as they encountered a roadblock in their path. Just a few feet from the car, a couple of teachers stood engaged in a deep conversation. Alex had to walk through them to get to the car. I watched as they waited patiently for several minutes until the teachers finished their conversation and walked away before proceeding to the car. As soon as Alex got into the car, one of the teachers tapped on my window. She said she'd been teaching many years and had never ever seen a young student wait patiently while she finished a conversation with another adult. She pointed out that Alex was the first kid she had ever encountered who didn't just plow through, interrupting an important conversation because the student could not wait and do the right thing. She complimented me and the parents at having taught Alex so well. That was the true essence of Alex, always striving to do the right thing. When Alex left for college, they promised me of their own initiative that they would FaceTime their brother Nick and me every Friday at a chosen time. Except in cases of emergency, planned doctor appointments, or college obligations, Alex kept that promise. They very rarely canceled or rescheduled. We so looked forward to those weekly FaceTime calls we received for a total of 7 years until the last couple of months before their passing. Even in their last weeks, they still managed to communicate by text or a phone call with assistance. Our precious Alex was truly a light of my life and a joy to be around. I will miss our wonderful conversations about everything under the sun, Alex's hysterical and self-deprecating sense of humor, the unending loyalty to family and friends, and their taking action to make the world a better place. Though brilliant, Alex never took themselves too seriously. I will continue to see Alex in small ways and large ways the rest of my days. In green Crocs, trains, grilled cheesery milkshakes, crumble cookies, Thai and Ethiopian food, marine life, Keens with no socks, causes Alex held dearly, and books, and more books. I will also see them in their brother's sweet smile, in dogs, watching Animaniacs, taking long walks, in libraries, in truly listening and helping make a difference in the lives of others. I could go on and on, but I'll close now by saying Alex was one of the greatest teachers of my life. I will always be in awe of the fact that they truly lived until they died, fulfilling more life experiences in 25 years than most do in a lifetime. I vow to keep Alex's memory alive and well by paying forward the many lessons he taught me. Cheers to you, Alex. I will always love you.
Alex is the most amazing person I've ever known. I'm confident they're the most amazing person I'll ever know. Over the past months, dozens and dozens of people have messaged me to tell me and Alex how much they love and admire Alex, and what a difference Alex has made. Incredibly, I heard from several people who had only met Alex once that one instance changed their lives. People realized there was more kindness in the world than they had had faith in, and were inspired to pass on to others the kindness Alex had shown them. Multiple people also shared that Alex's bravery and pride in their trans identities showed them how much joy, love, and community can be found in living authentically as yourself, and inspired them to do the same. Alex has the most kind, gentle, warm, and loving soul, and as heartbreaking and devastating as it is to lose them, I'm also so blessed to have known such a special soul and to call them my fiancé and best friend. The first time Allie and I went out together after we began officially dating, I took them to get frozen yogurt, where they created an unholy concoction of pineapple and Thai tea flavored froyo topped with fresh blueberries, apple pie spice powder, and both Reese's Pieces and Reese's Cups. This foreshadowed the time only 2 months ago that I came in and found Alex eating a slice of our leftover double chocolate fudge wedding cake, topped with sour cream and shredded cheddar cheese. The first time we went to the Nashville Zoo together, upon seeing the rhinoceros hornbill bird and reading on its little plaque how the young females of this bird species play house, building play nests with their friends, Alex said, "Oh, that's me. I'm only allowed to go to IKEA once per year because I go too wild in there." I, of course, found that incredibly endearing. That's why I was quite confused months later when I offered to drive Alex to the Portland IKEA, and they said, "Oh, that's so exciting. I've never been there before." When I asked them about their comment at the hornbill cage, they shrugged and said, "I have no idea why I said that." So many first times together, and the ones I can share here barely scratch the surface. It's hard to believe we won't get any more. One thing we're celebrating today is Alex's strength and determination. Earlier this year, Alex's neuro-oncologist told us that before dying of a glioblastoma, patients sleep more and more until they're sleeping 24/7, can't be woken up, and that's when they pass away. But that's not what happened. Miraculously, Alex told us verbally that they love us for all but the last 2 days of their life. And even those last 2 days, they said it non-verbally with hugs and hand squeezes. On their last day alive, I was sitting next to Alex. They had their arms sort of lying across my lap like this. They were sleeping, unresponsive, or so I thought. But when I tried to get up so I could go use the restroom, Alex just pushed down with their arms, so I tumbled back down onto the bed next to them. As soon as I promised I'd be back soon, they let me go. Only hours before Alex passed away, they were holding our hands, and we realized that they were fully conscious when someone let go of their hand, and Alex got so offended, indignantly reaching back out and grabbing at the air until someone else took their hand. For the rest of the evening, if anyone holding one of Alex's hands needed to step away, we would first need to plan who would take over the hand-holding. For a while, I felt cheated out of those promised days of mourning, of that chance to brace ourselves that the doctor spoke of. But now I recognize this as an incredible testament to Alex's fierce dedication to loving and being loved. Despite being terrified of death, Alex kept a sense of humor about their diagnosis from beginning to end. When their pathology results came back as the most deadly possibility, they responded by baking a parody gender reveal cake printed, "Congrats, it's a glioblastoma," and shared slices with their whole family at a party complete with balloons. Only weeks before passing away, Alex bought a goth t-shirt that said "Fatally Yours" over a headstone, which they wore often in the weeks to follow. And upon noticing that a huge flock of crows live at the cemetery where Alex decided to be buried, Alex made me promise to spread birdseed on their grave whenever I visited so that passersby would always wonder, why the hell are all the crows on that one grave? I have so many more Alex stories than I have time to tell right now. And as anyone who knew Alex knows, stories have always been deeply important to Alex. In Alex's last months, they found comfort in the fact that even if we can't know what would happen to their soul after their body failed them for the last time, their spirit would live on in their loved ones' stories. So I encourage all of you to keep sharing memories and telling stories of Alex tonight and forever. And in that way, among many others, Alex will live on in our hearts forever.
Thank you, Hannah. Hanan and Courtney.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hanan.
And I am Courtney Eddington, and we are good friends of Alex Morgan's from attending high school together at University School of Nashville, USN for short. Alex Morgan had a thirst of knowledge and passion for languages. I was fortunate enough to be able to watch Alex's pursuit evolve over the years. In high school, Alex and two other friends would chat nonstop for hours, switching between Chinese and English. Alex continued their love of Chinese culture during college by visiting China and writing their senior thesis about Chinese literature. Other times, I watched Alex use their photographic memory to win Quiz Bowl championships and recite every plot, interesting fact, and quote from every book they read. While Alex knew a little bit about everything, that wasn't what truly amazed me about them. It was their ability to speak about the passions with kindness and grace. Alex was always encouraging and made me feel safe to ask them questions. Their answers came with affection and patience. Alex was never condescending, but built people up and saw people's full potential. Alex did this with everyone around them, including me. Alex supported and believed in me many times throughout the years. Once in 9th grade, I wrote a short story and submitted it to the student-run literary magazine where Alex was on staff. At 14, I was deeply insecure about others reading my work, and the day the magazine staff read the submissions, I was terrified. Later that day, Alex gushed about my story and why they liked it. Alex made me the most confident 14-year-old that day. Throughout high school, Alex never let me forget how much they liked that story. And with these compliments, Alex built up my confidence about my writing and helped me believe I could write anything. Because of Alex, I could do anything. Years later in college, I had to write a senior thesis, and once again, I was terrified. My classmates had to peer review my paper, and it was 9th grade all over again. I chatted with Alex several times during that semester, and each time I expressed my fears, Alex convinced me I could produce a kick-ass senior paper. I finished that paper, and Alex's faith in me was 90% why. Alex was a stable force in my life with a quick wit, monochromatic green looks, and a book in their hand. Alex made everyone feel loved and safe. Alex embraced life and people with compassion and grace.
When I first started USN, Alex was one of the first people to reach out to me. Entering school in the 7th grade, as the first hijabi Muslim girl in my class, I quite often felt isolated. But Alex, being the kind, observant, compassionate person they were, was quick to reach out to me with their sweet smile and make me feel welcomed and loved. We quickly bonded over our taste for monochromatic colored clothing, we both loved matching, our distaste for middle school PE, and joined yoga, the least athletic sport there was, where we deepened our friendship with talks about books, spirituality, politics. Their quirkiness, compassion, curiosity, and wealth of knowledge about the world drew me to them. It was second nature to Alex to make everyone they met feel welcome and comfortable. It was one of their special gifts, like Dr. Morgan mentioned, their unconditional empathy they had towards everyone they met, and even the ones they didn't. This empathy, open-mindedness, and concern for others beyond their circle was one of the many things I admired most about Alex. I loved how they always wanted to learn more and had this insatiable thirst for knowledge and connection. In early high school, they eagerly joined me when I asked them to come to an interfaith program I was involved with and be the sole Jewish representative. And I couldn't have imagined a better representative of the Jewish faith than them, sharing with us other young Muslim and Christian youth this deep understanding and wisdom beyond their years. I personally learned so much from them. Alex empathized and truly felt for all marginalized groups and had the passion and determination to bring awareness about social issues not commonly spoken about. I remember in 12th grade, Alex, who was a leader of our school's social justice group, Albany, and I and a couple of other friends hosted a forum where we brought renowned social activists and community leaders to discuss social issues that were prevalent in our society. They didn't stop there. From then on, Alex, Courtney, and I, Ella, we were buddies in attending nearly every protest together, from attending the MLK marches to protesting the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline that tore through Native American communities, protesting Trump's No Muslim ban, to counter-protesting the Westboro Baptist Church's anti-LGBTQ vitriol. Alex felt deeply connected to each and every struggle. Even just a few months before their passing, when me and Courtney was the last time we saw them. And Thanksgiving, Alex was lamenting to me about how much they wished they could help the people in Gaza and how much in their lifetime they wanted to see them reach peace and freedom. They were never afraid to stand up for justice, for what is right, even if the world around them was telling them otherwise. Even when Alex themselves were going through circumstances that no 25-year-old should, they retained their empathy, compassion, and sense of concern for others. I had the privilege of speaking with them just 2 weeks before they passed, and while they were struggling to find words, they kept their sweet, gentle mannerisms, saying, thank you, every time I helped them remember their words. They were truly one of the sweetest, kindest, and most gentle souls I ever met who had love for everyone. It's not easy to come across a soul like Alex Morgan, and I know I will not meet anyone like them in my life. I really wish there were more people like them out there. While their time in this world was cut too short, they brought more light and peace to the stark world than most people do in a lifetime, and I'm so incredibly grateful for the time and friendship I had with them. They will forever be in our hearts.
Hello, I'm Louise Hansen, and David and Karen have been my friends for more than 30 years. And I had the joy and privilege of knowing Alex and loving Alex since the day they were born. I'd like to start with a quote from a book that Alex loved, The Life of Pi. I think Alex probably read it at least a dozen times, I'm not sure, but I'll start with that. The world isn't just the way it is, it's how we understand it, right? And an understanding is something, we bring something to it, right? Doesn't that make life a story? Alex brought light and insight into our world, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about their story. Alex was simply the most kind, patient, loving, and empathetic person I've ever known. And when Karen and David said in the obituary that those who knew Alex rarely, if ever, heard a harsh word from them, it's really no exaggeration. And it's not because Alex didn't know how the world worked. It was because they were just that good of a person that gave everyone grace and knew that everyone had a story to tell or burdens to bear. And Alex wanted to hear those stories and ease the pain of others whenever they could. Alex was brilliant and inquisitive and spent their life learning everything from classical Chinese literature to Jewish history to, I would say, kind of terrible, obscure 1980s horror films that we all grew up with. Alex stayed curious even in overwhelming circumstances. When our daughter Hannah visited Alex in the neurosurgery intensive care unit the night of one of their brain surgeries, Alex was keeping their Duolingo streak alive by studying their Spanish and Yiddish. I think their friends from school probably can identify with that. These are two new languages they tackled in addition to Hebrew and Chinese. Alex devoured multiple books a week, often one book a day, and yet somehow always had an even longer list of books they hoped to read one day. And if you were ever lucky enough to have gotten a book recommendation from Alex, like many of us have, you know that Alex had a gift and a passion for matching their loved ones with that perfect book for any occasion or mood. And I imagine many of us have soon-to-be favorite books out there that are on our to-do list, to our read list, thanks to Alex's thoughtful recommendation. And speaking of books, Alex's unbridled enthusiasm for bookstores was unmatched by anyone I've met. Now, if you were so inclined to accompany Alex on a trip to a bookstore, you really should have contemplated bringing along a sleeping bag and a pillow. Because Alex could spend hours and hours and hours in a bookstore, browsing and reading and soaking it all in, if you so let them. And bookstores and libraries were just one of their many happy places. So it's no surprise that Alex chose library science for their graduate school program. And I just had to smile when I heard about that choice. Imagined Alex sitting there, doing their work, providing guidance to others looking for just that right book, patiently helping others who needed that right spark to fuel and direct their next research project. As most of you know, Alex could tackle any topic in a trivia game, though we always said, well, maybe not sports. But our most recent trivia game together as families, there was a question and Alex tentatively said, Tom Brady? And of course was correct. So we'd all decided that maybe even sports wasn't an off-limit topic. Alex, as Hanan knows, and y'all's friends from high school, had multiple Quest and Quiz Bowl, and also completely shellacked the rest of us at our Thanksgiving trivia game. And this was just a few months before they passed away. That Thanksgiving together was one of the most special of times. In typical Alex fashion, they approached the weekend with love, laughter, witty anecdotes. The food was bountiful, perhaps even a little too bountiful. We literally couldn't fit all the food onto the table and had to spread out onto other tables. Love and thankfulness was bountiful as well, and the afternoon stretched into the evening because none of us wanted it to end. Alex taught us that day and countless other days how to hold both grief and joy together, but still allow joy to rule the day. So many of you may not know this, that Alex was actually quite the daredevil as a child, putting our kids to shame with their willingness to take risks. Alex was actually the one that would swing wildly on the playground apparatus, once breaking their arm in the process. I think Sandra was there. They would pile pillows onto the floor in the home and jump from literally any height. They would go down any slide in any playground. Many of you have kids my kids' ages remember there was a terrible, super, super tall slide at Elmington Park. I walked by it yesterday. It's no longer there because it's probably outlawed now in all 50 states. But Alex and Nick was 2, I think Alex was 4. I mean, this slide was really terribly dangerous, but they would go down that slide. And our kids, I don't think, went down it till they were 10 or 12 or something. Alex and our kids, Hannah and John, loved to play a game at David and Karen's home called The Floor is Lava. They had to swing on Nick's playroom swing, and they would fly through the air, hoping to land on a couch. They would leap from furniture to furniture. Alex perfected one particular move where they would stand, there's a door to the room, and Alex would stand with both feet on either side of the door, on the doorknobs, and hold that door and swing from one side to the other, all to avoid the hot lava, otherwise known as the floor. I'm told there were no winners and losers and the floor is lava. But John and Hannah, my kids, will tell you that Alex was always one step ahead, always discovering bold or braver ways to navigate the lava. Alex spent their life basking in the love of their family and friends and Sandra. And this love carried them through life's challenges and helped empower them to live life fully and authentically. And of course, not surprising, like many of you, the last 3 words Alex said to me on the phone were, "I love you." So many of us have heard those words. Those words always flowed freely from Alex, even in a time when those words don't flow freely from many teenagers. But they always did from Alex, and for that, we're grateful. I'd like to end with a quote from another one of Alex's favorite books, Aragon. "Consider none your inferior, whatever their rank or station in life. Treat all fairly. Hold fast to what is right and true, and others will listen." Thank you.
Hello, I'm Janet Hoffman. I'm Karen's sister, Alex's aunt. And I always start by apologizing to people that might have trouble seeing me, but I am already standing. So just start with that. This is my tribute to Alex. Roses are red, violets are blue. We are here to celebrate Alex and not to boo-hoo. Often on special occasions, those in the family will be cursed at having to suffer through some of my verse. So in that tradition, with everybody's permission, I'll try to be a poet-magician and extol the virtues of Alex's personality, be prepared for any eventuality, and perhaps a little sentimentality. Here we go. Alex was born on the 1st of December. Their arrival brought joy at the time, I remember. When baby was due, they needed a name. Karen and David picked one of great fame. Alexander the Great, famous fighter from Greece. How ironic that our Alex became a warrior for peace. Nashville born and Nashville bred, what a life Alex led. Born in Tennessee, Alex did not speak with a Southern drawl. In fact, I do not recall ever hearing him use the term "you all." First residing on Saratoga, then Wimbledon, and finally Blair. As long as books followed, Alex did not care or despair. Give Alex a book, and they would be your best friend, but do so with caution, as you might not see them until day's end. Hillsdale, Scarsdale, Ruland, Grayswood, Foxhall, so many options of where to turn. But oh no, Grandma, not Charlotte Avenue, that which Alex did so spurn. As a youngster, Alex was obsessed with Thomas the Train and encyclopedic knowledge of the characters retained in their brain. A lover of zoo animals and many, Alex had special fondness for pets Swimmy, Daisy, Hercules, and Penny. Alex started the academic journey at Julia Green. Alex's kindergarten teacher noted right away that they were keen. Who remembers this kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Stone, ended up winning The Bachelor? At the time, it was truly spectacular. From Julia Green, Alex proceeded to USN. In addition to excelling in traditional reading, writing, and arithmetic, they studied Chinese, poetry, and yoga for Zen. And while there, several short stories they did pen. At USN, Quiz Bowl prowess brought Alex much fame. I saw Alex perform in a national tournament accompanied by Mr. Crane. Alex triumphed mostly, although questions on geometry and Dickens' Bleak House, caused Alex pain. Frankly, those questions called all of us disdain. Alex's forte was in ancient history. Where this expertise derived is no mystery. With exuberant veracity, books did Alex attack. All that reading filled her brain with concepts and facts. For college, Alex traveled to the Pacific Northwest, coming home only for holidays and upon their parents' behest. Alex was always welcome to Nashville with homemade cheesecake, but I've heard tell that while in Portland, brownies Alex preferred to bake. As an aside, being vegetarian, Alex ate only meat that was fake. Alex was brave, but a bit freaked out when they spotted a clown. So of course, whenever they were in town, we were sure to tease them by having clown-themed items around. Alex loved classes at Reed. At creative writing, they did succeed. Of living in Portland, Alex was quite fond, and with partner Jessica, they formed a strong bond. On Sundays, Alex would call father and mother, and Fridays, always the good brother, Alex would FaceTime Sandra and Nick, freeing their calendars so nothing would conflict. On this schedule, they were strict. Here's some things I'll always remember. Never morning coffee for Alex, only hot tea. Shopping for discarded items on the curbside because they were free. When Alex was younger, before they would eat a meal, they would whisper a prayer in a manner genteel to thank the animals and plants for becoming his fare, their fare. Even at a young age, Alex was socially consciously aware. Singing Mo Li Wa, Jasmine Flower song with cousins, Mung Ali brought the family laughs by the dozens. And who could forget the receiving of New Year's envelopes of red? Great glee did the red envelope song spread. At Chinese restaurants, translating the Chinese menu would please their parents and the restaurant venue. For Alex's bar mitzvah in this very synagogue, many of us were together. Oh, the terrible weather. A scorching heat, the temperature was a crime, but the celebration at the Science Center was a festive time. That Alex did so rock, wearing Keens without socks, everybody, and is credited in family lore for discovering the righteous ox. Black Friday half-price thrift shopping for treasure brought the family together with pleasure beyond measure. In movies and TV shows, Alex's taste tended towards goth. In classic literature, their favorite book was Brothers Karamazov. Of course, Alex also loved the book Life of Pi. Deep philosophical thoughts did the book supply. Who among us has read Alex's senior thesis, where they discuss the spermatic economy in ancient Chinese literature, and I'm not being facetious. When I would phone Alex, they rarely spoke about themselves, preferring to redirect the conversation and ask, Aunt Janet, how are you doing? And then we would discuss the TV shows we were viewing, often quoting each other ridiculous lines Nandor the Relentless was spewing. A more kind and polite person would be hard to meet. Despite illness, they remained ever sweet. For most, this would have been a difficult feat. Alex suffered illness with such grace and poise. Alex was a pleasure to converse with, even when dosed with steroids. Being their family was a blessing that gave the Block Hoffmans much joy. I know my physical health is failing, but spiritually I feel at peace, Alex told me in December when he was quite sick. Maybe he really was a Lamed Vovnik. A beautiful life, too short but well lived. Let's together 3 times, both loud and proud, celebrate Alex with hip hip hooray. May their essence be present in our hearts for innumerable days. Please join me. Hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray. Thank you.
So I have the honor and pleasure of ending this ceremony. So thank you guys so much for coming today. Grandmas Bobby, Doris, David, and I are so grateful for the support of family and friends, and we hope that you guys can join us afterwards for a buffet with some of Alex's favorites. We would also love to hear your favorite Alex story, or if there's cards there if you prefer to write that as well. I wish I had my sister's poetic skills, but Janet's the poet laureate of the family, so this will be in prose, not verse. We heard a lot about Alex's many core attributes: kindness, generosity, humility, brilliance. But I want to add another. Alex was just really fun to hang out with. Alex loved wordplay, bad puns, terrible movies, and they had the tendency to laugh, often at themselves, to the point of tears streaming down their face. Alex was game for anything at least once, and Louise already alluded to that. Snorkeling at night in a bioluminescent bay while getting stung by jellyfish, lion dancing in Billy Currington's music video for Give Me That Girl. Alex is actually in for a 3-second cameo, but he's wearing a papier-mâché mask so you wouldn't know it. Choking down a drink called the Crazy Vampire at the Portland Night Market. Jumping out of a car this last October to grab discarded Halloween skeleton limbs from a toilet bowl left by the curb containing mysterious brown liquid. Alex was down for all of it. Alex knew I loved mysteries, and for my birthday this year, they gave me the book Murder by Bubble Tea, which, along with Alex's love of matcha, was one of the inspirations for the drink choice at the reception. But don't be alarmed. The boba in the social hall is completely safe. You have heard a lot of Alex stories, but let me add just one more. As a young child, Alex loved to go to the Nashville Zoo and was especially captivated by the Unseen World, which was the amphibian exhibit there. Their favorite animal was the blue poison dart frog, which are really beautiful. It was not uncommon for Sandra to take Alex and Nick during the week, and then for us to return on the weekend, often with the Hanson Smallies, for another look. However, Dave and I slowly realized that actually Alex spent a lot more time looking at the photo of the blue frog by the door than at the actual animal. When asked, Alex said the picture was much bigger, the vegetation didn't get in the way, and the picture didn't move. After that, we saved hundreds of hours by just pulling up a photo on the internet when Alex asked to go to the zoo. And the phrase, "it's a blue frog," has become part of family lexicon for any event or activity that's much more fun in concept than in execution. Alex was a prolific and talented writer. As I considered what to say today, I looked over some of the content for inspiration. Lots and lots and lots of content. Some were overly technical school essays, some in Chinese, and I couldn't understand them. Some were in English, and I couldn't understand them. But I found a short piece that Alex wrote in 5th grade, and it is short, that I wanted to share. Hail to thou, Czarina of House Morgan and mine mother. I have finished social studies. This message is considered to be my typing practice. How are you? Is making dinner going well? Have you decided whether we are going to Tanzania when I am 12 or 13? Speaking of which, do you know which European nation it was a colony of? I think Britain, but I'm not quite sure. Have a good time. Lots to unpack. Alex did go to Tanzania at age 13. I still don't know who colonized Tanzania, and apparently dinner did get on the table eventually. I love this piece because I think it epitomizes Alex's playfulness, inquisitiveness, and joie de vivre, and this random typing exercise has become a cherished token of my sweet Alex. Alex was the bravest person I know. Less than 2 months after college graduation, Alex was diagnosed with a glioblastoma multiforme, a brain tumor that has a less than 5% 5-year survival. It would be natural to be angry or wallow in self-pity, but Alex never did that. Alex chose the infinitely more beautiful pathway of embracing the time they had left. 3 craniotomies, thanks, Reed, the whole brain radiation and chemo causing truly brutal side effects, yet Alex continued to live their life, completing 1.5 years of a master's program in library sciences at University of Washington, starting an internship at the Gresham Historical Society, fulfilling a long-held dream of attending Necromacron, also known as Lovecraftapalooza in Providence, Rhode Island, traveling with Jess to Santa Fe for the New Mexico Mineralogy exhibit, seeing the Shondas live in concert, and having an engagement ceremony with Jess in January of this year were just some of the highlights of the last 2 years. But it isn't only the bucket list items that stand out to me. It was the ability to continue doing the small yet meaningful day-to-day things that highlight Alex's resilience and strength. In 2023, Alex read 187 books, all of which are annotated and scored on Goodreads, and ate almost as many whole bowls. They started a novel about turn-of-the-century Budapest, they baked matcha cookies, had game nights with friends, haunted aisles at Powell's bookstore, petted an infinite number of dogs, walked Mount Tabor, tromped around the Oregon coast, bought glass clothing at their favorite thrift stores, and indulged in a dessert poetically called Ship Goes to Pieces Against the Rocks at a haunted restaurant called Rimsky Coarse Coffee. Alex made a conscious decision to truly live life as an independent adult on their own terms and not let cancer steal those precious years away. When we lost Alex, I was overcome with the tragedy of it. But in honor of Alex, I'd like to flip the narrative. It really was a joy in our lives to have had Alex in our lives for the last 25 years. And so thank you, sweet Alex, for teaching me to slog doggedly through the challenges and to make beauty out of the everyday. You are an inspiration, and I love you with all my heart.
Okay, so we're going to close today with a prayer that we know is one of Alex's very favorites. set to a tune that we also know is one of Alex's very favorites. And it's a prayer that asks that God shelter us in Sukkot Shlomecha, a shelter of peace. And so we too will flip the narrative and ask that we all be sheltered in the warmth and love and joy that is and was Alex with these words.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, shalom, ve'hamidenu shomrenu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Please join us in the social hall.